and power of quitting on crude oil. So good job if you were in those trades. Stop on the Russell is 800.2. Going to the middle target as usual, 795.2. And maybe that trade will come off. The 625 tick on the Russell triggered into a long trade in front of our start time. So we're still flat on that. And the EU just really slow. That short trade is still in effect. Hasn't triggered in. It almost triggered in. There's a short on
Order
the
filled.
Russell 625. Heads up. 796.8, targeting 792.7. And the stop at 800.3. And that one getting triggered in also. 377 just triggered in. Money management on the 377, 795.9. The 625 struggled a bit last week, although it did close the week with a nice winner. Long, slow trade. So we'll see how it does this week. But definitely getting short here. Again, 796.8, targeting 792.7. So crude oil finished with, 13 cents per position on that second trade and a 78-cent session on 2 winning trades this morning. And, of course, going to that third target, definitely paying dividends. And the original plan got 71 cents. It did well also. But the newer plan gave us that bigger target on that first trade and possibly a much bigger target on the second trade. And a quicker POQ as it locked in that one tick on that second trade. Richard, POQ stands for power of quitting. Good question. That's our dynamic goal setting strategy that we use each and every day. It's part of each trade plan. So the trade plan not only tells us when to start and what the settings are on the calculator, how we trade each market, where we move the stops and all that, but it also tells us when we're stopping. And so we have our stopping time, but we also have our dynamic goal setting strategy. And we want to just trade as little as possible and hit our goals each and every day in a dynamic way. And when I say dynamic, I'm referring to this idea that we take what the market wants to give us instead of trying to force what we want from the market. And so power of quitting is a term we use because we are empowered to stop trading for the day because we've hit our goals. It's a matter of discipline and just staying steady and consistent session after session after session. We found that's how you can get steady results that will continue to grow your account and still be able to have a life and not be glued to the computer 24/7. And which of course has a whole new set of challenges. So for us, we want 2 winners, and one of those winners needs to be a full winner, hitting the full target. The other winner could be any positive trade, even if it's just one tick or greater, and a positive result. So today it was easy, 2 winners in a row. That's power of quitting. Other days we get some losses too, and maybe 2 winners isn't enough to be positive. We have to keep trading until we get positive. And so it's a dynamic way to quit or to set goals because you're not saying, I got to make 50 cents every day on crude oil, or I got to make my 100 pips a day, or 30 pips, or whatever you decide on Forex, which is pretty artificial. I mean, it's an arbitrary goal when you just set some sort of limit based on your own personal needs and desires. It really has no bearing on reality with what the market's doing. For us, it's all about what's the market doing. So there are sessions where, we might only pull a few ticks out of the market. We're positive. We got within one tick of our full target, and then it came back, and we had to get out quick with only a few ticks on the trade, for example. If it gets to within one tick of our full target, I typically count that as a full winner because, I give a little bit of a margin of error there for that full target. So, last week we only got 16 ticks out of the Russell. I think it was, I forget what day it was, Tuesday, I believe, or Wednesday, I forget. Day before we got 4.5 points. Another day, I've seen us get 10 points. And so it's dynamically giving you from day to day what the market is willing to give you, and then we're content with that. We're empowered to quit trading for the day. So that's where that all comes from. And because our system's dynamic also, and the trades are actually adjusting in real time to market conditions, each setup is different, dynamically tuned as each bar closes. The calculator is continually monitoring and managing the trade based on, the rules of the system, which is dynamically adjusting bar after bar. Power of quitting and the dynamic goal setting strategy fits in with that whole philosophy and way of trading, our whole approach. Okay, Russell's trying to break lower. We can see the stop is getting ready to move down. That stop's getting ready to move down to 799.1. If you're new to the SST, it's kind of weird to see a trade where the stop is so much larger than the target, but quite often and most of the time it's just based upon current support and resistance, and ultimately it works its way lower and tightens, and like we saw with crude oil, and here it is with the Russell tightening quite a bit. 799.1 now. And I know that does take some getting used to. But all of a sudden, it's a more reasonable risk-reward ratio. Yeah, Richard, we've been using the power of quitting approach for years here with NetPicks. It's pretty much tied into most of the strategies, their day trade strategies that they've put forth over the years. And, there are arguments that can be made to your power of quitting could be more vigorous. You could go for 3 winners instead of 2. There are some traders that will just go for 1 winner. And if you're using any sort of diversification, there are other traders that will trade 3 different markets, one after the other, and they'll keep it within a tight 30 to 45 minute window of time. 1 winner or 30 minutes, for example, and then they're done, and then they go to the next market. There's different ways to use power of quitting. The whole idea, though, is to take what the market wants to give you based on a well-tested trade plan that gives you an edge over time so that you're putting the odds in your favor. Right, so that stop is about to move down to 798.3. Anything can happen at this point with the Russell. It's just in a real tight range. Support is held. Probably an upward bias now that we're sitting above the trigger line, closed above it for a couple bars. So if you got out at the early exit, there's a good chance you save some money. On the other hand, it could work its way down again and still get to target. So, yep, no news Monday. And definitely Z's, all Z's. Sleepy market. But, look what we did with crude.
Order filled.
Russell did just stop out, and that nice EMA exit definitely, probably saved you about 50%, close to 50%. And that's a big way to grow your account when you're able to cut your losses by a significant percentage. If the trade's going to lose, keep the losses small. And that's the significance of that. Over time, it really adds up. Every now and then, you'll get out too soon and you'll miss a full winner, but it's a worthy price to pay if you're able to save on a majority of those losing trades when they occur.